Hello everybody, and this is the latest version of Blender. And as you can see, it's not only a modeling and 3D rendering suite, but it also does post-production. And not only is it open source and free, but the goal is to kick everybody's asses while doing that. Alright. Not really, but... Alright, I'm being funny, but anyhow. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to mess with lighting today, so here we go. In cycles. Oh man, I'm terrible. Okay. So, we got it set up for cycles, and we have to turn on, hold on a sec. User preferences, there it is. Yeah, that's in the screencast keys. Here we go. There. Alrighty. Now, what was I gonna say? Alright, this is gonna be a setup for lighting in cycles, or actually lighting in regards to materials in cycles. And glass in particular, so yeah, it just took a little while to set up. Just, goof right now. And the default cube, I'm going to use it as a backdrop, so I don't need to delete it right now, so just gonna make it to a backdrop. And we need to add what, light? So let's do that. This will be our light. Oops. I want to do that. Add. Oops. And how do that? I don't. That's one way to flatten it. Stairs are a light bulb. Okay. And now we need something to go around the light bulb. It takes a little while to set up. Just bear with it. And I'll make that smooth. So this is going to be our light emitter. That's going to be our backdrop. Now we need to add something that works like a light shade. So, and that will be glass, by the way. Just getting this set up. So, cylinder. No fills on that. It's all good. Alright.
I know it's boring, isn't it? Working quietly. Okay, so that's our backdrop. It's our light bulb. This is our lampshade. Alright, so now we gotta set up the materials in cycles. That's going to be an important thing. So just getting this set up. Gotta make sure everything uses nodes. And new material for that. Glass. Leave it at default now. Bulb. It's going to be new material. It's going to be a mission. If I can find it. Where is it? There it is up there. And so I'm going to scale that a little bit bigger. Alright, so here's our setup in cycles. And let's give this a test render, but I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Quite a bit smaller, so it'll work faster. And so let's give it a quick test render. Alright. So we have our light, we have our glass. And it kind of renders a little funny, and the light barely casts through the glass. And not only that, but if we move this down a bit, turn it up as light, so we can see some shadows from this light. You can see the glass pretty much absorbs all the light. That's default setting. So yeah, that's something to be aware of with cycles when you're using glass and light, is that that glass will absorb all your light. It could be a problem if you're not aware of that. So, where is it? I go with edit mode, don't I? Make sure it is smooth. This is smooth. Yes, things have changed in this version. Alright, it's probably under tools. Here it is. That's what I want. And then it's like the refraction, but yeah, you can see that the glass absorbs light a lot. So, what do we do about the glass absorbing this much light? And we can turn up brightness and raise, right? So, under this we can change sampling, but I'm not going to do that just yet. But we can also do Lightpaths. And let's just go full global for now just to see how that works. And even turning that up, you can still see the light might transmit a little better, but it is still being absorbed like crazy by the glass. So let's go to compositing, and so I'll set the nodes. It should be, oh, that would help. When it's set to material, not those other things. So this is our glass, and what you gotta do is mix it with a transparency. So let's do that. Shader, mix shader. transparent. And I guess we want Lightpaths. This is a little trick I picked up from somewhere. So we gotta do add Lightpath. Lightpaths is kind of important to get this to work right. So you need to have camera array and not only camera array, but what is it, a transmission? Multiply. Oops. And I believe that will give us an end function, so if either one is true, then it will work. I think that's what we want. So yeah, that works as a Boolean end if I remember right. I didn't remember right. Let's try. I know there's a way to do it. Did have it on a scrap of paper here. Oh, I know what the trick is. Okay. Scrap paper is helpful, so. Yeah, transmission array here. And I need another mix node, like so. This is setup. And then from there, I do transparent. It's like this. Okay. This is the setup. So if there's a transmission array, it will show as the glass. If not, it will be transparent. And then if it's a camera array, it will be glass. If not, it will be transparent. I think that is the setup. And now you can see that the shade is kind of letting some of the light through. Some of this is refraction. We're still getting a light bulb here. Let's move this light down a bit. I want to see if it casts a shadow. So we see our shade is no longer casting a shadow. And it's letting light through, but we are getting these really dark artifacts where it is still not letting the light through. I believe that it'll be our refraction setting. So if we change this to a rendered view, and let's go to our glass, and our index of refraction. And you can see some weird stuff going on with it. And I'm adding roughness to give it a more diffuse kind of light. And it's still not perfect. Just make our lampshade a little bit bumpy or something. You're like rippled glass. Rippled glass. And even more diffuse with roughness. Okay, so that's starting to look more like a glass kind of lampshade. And our light is there, but notice that when we look at it, our light bulb is casting a shadow even though it is emitting light. So we gotta fix that. You also need to use light path nodes on your light emitter. So let's pick our light bulb. Go back to compositing. Right now it is just in emission. You can turn the strength up. Even with the higher strength. Light bulb is shining out more rays and stuff, but even though our light bulb is bright, if you notice on here, as soon as it gets a little sharper, it is still casting a pretty strong shadow for a thing that is emitting light. Which is goofy, so we also need a light path on this. And add a mixture. And we need to add another transparent. Where is it? Center shaders. Yes. Alright. Like, Paul, you goofball, what are you doing? It's hard to explain, I'm just kind of doing it. Alright. As you notice, I add the transparent, the shadow gets a little weaker. But watch this, if once I plug in the shadow ray node, where is it? Light path. The shadow ray, it's the second one, right there. The shadow completely goes away. And now our light is getting a little brighter, and it looks kind of neat through the shade because it's not casting a shadow in the shade. So that's neat, but how do we get our light to even screen through as a light? Is we can overdrive the transparent. You're like, how do you overdrive the transparent? It's already all the way up. Well, do is add another input, and actually, it's just input. You should add value right here. Or like that would just put it back to the default. Well, watch what happens when this goes over 1. Now we're getting a light where the shadow is. Okay, this might be a little weird though because it is considering where the other light sources are when it casts this. So that is something to be aware of, but you can produce a light as cast on there. But and I think if I replace the transparent with a translucent, it's right here, I can make that more diffuse. It's not quite working here. Well, back to transparent. But we'll get rid of the shadow from the bulb, that's okay for now. But yes, you can overdrive it, just remember that it considers other light sources. And you don't want to overdrive it by much, because it really picks up fast. But it is a neat thing you can do. And the thing is we can also go back to the shade here, and mix it in like we did before. Add. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, I'm bad. Alright. Now our shade isn't casting much of a shadow, but we can overdrive it like we did the other thing. And if you keep that as a low value, it will spread the light out. So now we're getting light through there and like spread out. Takes a bit of work. Remember, this is a glass lampshade. I'm going to change that back to translucent just out of curiosity. And you might even be able to color shift it, I believe. Yes. However, if you do that there, you should probably also do it over here. Yeah. But you can match up the color ever so slightly with the color of the glass in your lampshade. Oops. And that's how you use Lightpath nodes to improve your glass. Just remember, when you overdrive the mixer that is controlled by the shadow, which in this case is on the light bulb, not on the glass. But when you overdrive it, it's going to be casting that light where the shadow would normally be. So it's just something to be aware of. And as part of an experiment, I'm going to hide this light. I'll leave it where it is. I'm going to add another light object. And I'm just going to move it so it casts a shade. Because I'm curious. As you can see, it works that way. And it might even cast through the bulb. Let's put it inside the bulb. So remember now, we did something with the bulb's shadows. So I am curious. Yeah, you can actually put the light inside the bulb like that. Now it's too bright. Let's put this down at 50. Because remember, we're overdriving the shadow from the bulb, but now it's not casting a shadow, it's casting a light. dial that down. There's still some artifacts depending on the viewing angle, though. Guess that's just the way glass is. It's not quite ideal. If I click glass, low index of reflection. You really gotta mess with the index of refraction too. Yeah, we still get those really dark artifacts there. There's no way to... Or is there a way to completely get rid of that? I'm thinking. As you can see, just by using the light path nodes, you're greatly increasing how glass works in Blender in cycles. But you really need a light path to get glass and light to behave well together. But as you can see with the viewing angle, I am still getting very dark artifacts. For an index of reflection, I guess I could mix the glass with one other material. So, let's do that. Let's unplug both of these and add a mix shader and add translucent shader. I'm going to copy that color and then this will plug it to where the glass was, right there and right here. There. Yeah, I think that's better. Yep. Or you could use transparent in there too. You always gotta mix glass with the translucent or transparent in order to get it to play well. And you should always use light path nodes. And as you can see, it gets complicated fast. Glass you just can't use plain by itself. I mean, you can, but it doesn't look good. So to really build it up and get glass materials like this glass lampshade to behave well with light, you have to mix it. And I could probably desaturate this. And just before I go off, I'm going to render to a full 100. 100 samples. And in this version of Blender, we also have direct and indirect clamping right now. So if we go clamp direct, want that to be like 1.75. Indirect to be 0.80. Let's give it a render. It's gonna be bright. But it's really bright. style that down to... Yeah, because it would like that overdriving with the shadow really kicks it up when you put a light inside the light. When you put a regular light inside a mesh light. Which may or may not be necessary depending on what you're doing. But that spreads your light out when you use the shadow that's overdriven with the transparent. And a light ray or light path node. But you're getting more realistic results. Boring, is it? I don't know. I should have added this down, but I'm just doing it as it is. And one more thing I might want to do is... Right now it is shadow ray, but I also think I want to do a diffuse ray, so... Converter... Math... With a clamp... In addition, it will be as an OR shader. So shadow ray or diffuse ray. This will be a Boolean OR, if I remember right. So... And I'm going to turn this down to... say half that, just so we can see what it does. It's pretty neat so far. It still doesn't feel like it's there. So... Alright, what do I want to do is... this again, alright? Yeah, I'm a bit tired today. Transmission. Translucent. Transparent. Nope, they're the opposite of what I wanted. So let's let it render. Hey. Wonder why this shade isn't showing up very bright on the inside. That's the only thing that's bugging me. See, even with this index of refraction, it should still be showing up. Yeah, I'd say it's still not quite perfect, but it's a lot better than what you'd get if you left the glass alone and let it do its thing by itself in regards to how it interacts with light. I don't know why it's not picking up the light on the top there on the inside, but everywhere else it lets the light cast through. And if you got any ideas on how to fix this or make it even better, give me a heads up. And I know it's kind of drawn out process, but that's kind of the way you actually do it when you're making it. But you get an interesting light cast into the scene. In a way that seems consistent with a real world shade. Other than the light not catching on the inside for some reason. Which I'm sure I'll figure out later. But there you go, have fun with cycles and see what you can do with this idea. Alright, later.